Very, very warm, good evening today on Saturday on the 8th of November. This is Arunava Chaudhuri. You're live on my YouTube channel. Another Indian football discussion on this channel. Sorry, a few minutes later than I intended to. Yes, earlier than usual on this Saturday because I'm out a little later in the day. So I thought I'd still come online and do a live. Let's talk about the situation which has arisen due to the situation in and around the All India Football Federation's failed tender of the rights of the Indian Super League. So therefore, welcome back to the channel. Ankur, sorry, as I say, I'm a little later than I intended. And the question is what was also there yesterday. The same question is there today in regard to what happens to the rights, what happens to the failed tender of the AIFF, because something needs to happen. And, so therefore, I am, we need to look at what are the options? What are the options left to the AIFF? What can they do? What happens to the people within the AIFF? And where does it all go at the end of the day? Because the AIFF, running Indian football, they have been in the last few years has raised not only a lot of questions, but has raised the issue of what can happen. So therefore, that's where we are. And to me, let's wait and see where it goes. So therefore, good evening, Shastik. Welcome back with your queries, with your questions, observations. I've also done a video on this whole topic of the failed ISL tender. Today, have a look. ISL tender has no bidders. And therefore, that is that. Yes, Shastik, a little earlier than usual. As I said in the opening remarks, I've got some sporting commitments. I'll be at handball a little later on. But I still thought I would want it to come online today, and therefore decided to do this live a little earlier than planned, a little earlier than usual, and therefore I am early. And welcome, Raj. Welcome back as well. So therefore, I still thought, we need to talk about the situation that we find ourselves in, or that Indian football finds itself in, and what's next? Because the way that the matter is with the federation at this moment in time, the way the matter is with within the system, I think a lot of people knew that this is a risk, a danger that Indian football finds itself in, and those who understand those things, and therefore, what are the next steps? What are the next steps needed to think about the a proper full-fledged tender process? Thanks, Lucky Ali. What will happen next? Can we say goodbye to ISL and Ali will come top tier? Ankush, the problem that needs to be understood is if the ISL doesn't happen, or if the ISL doesn't finance the rest of the ecosystem, then I don't know if it is possible to say that that there is enough funding in the system to be able to sustain Indian football. I think that's the biggest danger that we find ourselves in at this moment in time as I speak to you, is that there's a lack of clarity on how how will it move forward? Because also the I League is in not in a financial situation to be run, because if the AIFF is not receiving money externally from a commercial partner, how can they run their system at all. And it's not a question of just ISL. It's not a question of I League. It is a question about I League 2. It's a question about I League 3. I League 3, will it happen at all? I think that's the first question that needs to be answered. What happens with the IWL, which is this year, the AIFF actually have a reason to say, you know what, we can't hold it as a proper full-fledged 4, 5, 6 month league. 2 windows, 20 days each, khatam, lowest cost. That's your denominator. And nothing more, nothing less is what the AIFF was doing. And therefore, that's some interest to see what happens. And we'll have to wait and see, because it's a very dangerous situation that we find ourselves in, given the circumstances. And I don't know where at the moment what the solution is. Now we understand the value of Mr. Patel. Not only the value of Mr. Patel, the value of Kushal Das, the value of Ashunandu Dhor, and all the others who were there, be it like someone like Nilanjan who's a guest on my channel. And that's the reality, right? It is, you can talk about things. You can even share visions of the future. But if you are unable to do what is necessary, that's why we are where we are. How do they manage to make things worse and worse when you feel they couldn't go any lower? Nixon, that's a very good good question, because I think we all would have thought, you know what, okay, things aren't good. Things aren't running the way we hope it would. But again, it would work its way out. It's Indian football. It has its problems and issues and this and that and everything. But Indian football has always been able to get itself sorted, And if we look at the current scenario, then we are in it, and you think, okay, there's a lot of talk. I want to do this, I want to do that, blah, blah, blah. But then the work doesn't get done. And therefore, we are where we're at this moment. They're literally killing their own cash cow they had. Yeah. If FSL is interested in Indian football, why don't AIFF be okay with their terms and conditions? It seems AIFF does have any leverage, and at the moment, nobody wants to invest in Indian football. Aditya, the answer is relatively simple. And the AIFF thought that there would be people in the market picking up the rights. When people told people within the AIFF, be it themselves, FSTL, listen, we have a product problem, the product is not selling. When independent people told the AIFF, you know what, guys, all of this at the moment is not working, the AIFF just continued the way they operate their things, right? And therefore, we are where we are at this moment in time. Very tricky, 100%. And you have to be honest enough to say, you know what, guys, how can we get out of this situation? The AIFF overestimated what Indian football is worth. And if we like it or not, but the worth of Indian football is, what's the worth of Indian football? Club football, at least, right? So therefore, it was a problem. It is a problem, and the question is now, how do we get out of it? How do we move forward? And the question is now not, my question would be, is Reliance Industries, I'm not talking about FSDL in their own interest will be interested in the rights. If Reliance as such would be interested to be involved in things, and move forward. There was news that bid committee is going to meet at the weekend, and after this, Ankush, they had an emergency conversation yesterday, but I don't know. I mean, the question is, what is the solution? Do you have to do another bid? Do you, before that, have to go back to the Supreme Court and ask, excuse me, what do we need to do to get out of this? There's a lot of questions that needs to be asked, and I think nobody in their sane mind would go out there. The question is, how do we get out of this? And that is the question that these guys need to answer. Surprised with Germany's draw against North Korea yesterday, but again, North Korean teams at smaller age groups, both in male and female, are actually good. But again, if you look at some of the results, I think we were talking a few days ago about, the Oceania teams are getting beaten, hammered, and then New Caledonia drew Japan goalless. Happens. Again, these are boys at under 17 level. These kind of things happen. Germany are defending champions, and I still think that Germany, will go through. Hi, the Waves. What's stopping these club buses on I-League and other tournaments? The Waves, very simple. Without the ISL money, they can't run the rest of the system. Very simple, right? And that's the whole problem. You will not be able to run Indian club football without the money that needs to be there to run the rest of the pyramid. Period. Very simple answer. Very, very simple answer. If you can't do that, the rest will not happen. All these guys are so inept. Why couldn't they agree to not? I'm so mad. I can't watch my favorite team play for the season. The Waves, very simple question, but there is no answer to that. Did any meeting take place? Raj, yes, there was a virtual meeting which took place yesterday evening, but there's nothing more. That's all. Also, what's the way of to do the basics right? Why is the further the pitch the way it is? Why did they not put any effort to ensure that's normal playing field? The Waves, you're pointing the finger of problems all at the AIFF, but this is a problem of the Sports Authority of Goa. The AIFF cannot be taking care of that page. The AIFF do not have those capabilities. The ISL as an entity, as a body, have done that over the years multiple times at multiple grounds, even in the bubble league. Look at the pitches in Goa, but even then, look at how the AIFF was able to do the pitches in the I-League. We're not in that situation at the moment, so therefore, those comparisons don't really work. Hi, Uchut, seriously doubt on how such a bid document was prepared. Listen, Uchut, the problem is not the bid document preparation. The problem is most probably people who said, we're going to get this, we're going to get that, we're going to get those, and this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And we put in these numbers, those numbers, and that's the reality. After watching this performance, how long will the foreigners be willing to stay? Firstly, some of them might leave in the coming days and weeks because now we have a potential another force majeure situation. I know that some of the foreigners will leave in the winter, right? They will look for options in January. So let's see. Also, this, right? No need to abuse. What the Punjab should be put into jail. Entire season why they so neck bend on getting the top league owned by the FA, it's Premier League owned by the FA. The Waves, it's not only that, it's look at the whole situation surrounding the constitution of the AIFF. Look at how the COA got involved and all of the things that these people have been trying to fight for the last 7-8 years, and they're still celebrating, we stopped this and that and everything, and they don't realize, it's disaster. I think these gentlemen need to be taken to court. Right, these people need to be taken to court and need to take to task and ask, guys, what have you done? Right, there's the whole lot of these people who need to be judicially checked, fined, and maybe even imprisoned for the harm to Indian football and Indian sports. And my question is, why is the Supreme Court of India entertaining all of this? That is the question that the Supreme Court of India should be answering. And they've made matters worse. It is for the last 20 plus years that we know the I-League wasn't selling, and then a bubble was created over the last few years. Results are here for all to see. Achut, the problem is there are these blind people who will tell you, oh, I leak this, I leak that. And again, you and I have had a lot of conversations on those things. Listen, it doesn't change. The I League is what the I League is. And Indian football is what Indian football is. So therefore, it doesn't change. And again, that's the real problem. And so yeah. So therefore, we are where we are, and it's very, very difficult to get out of it. AIFF needs people who understand football commerce, people who understand the numbers within. Only then can we expect some change in football's not an evolved product as yet killing ISL kids. Listen, yes and no. I would rather have in the AIFF people who understand the business of sports, the business of football, maybe. I would rather have a commercial partner who can commercialize the project and the project that they have on hand. And therefore, on that front, yeah, those two things are a combination. So yeah. So I want to know what Mr. Almeida and Xavier Bajaj getting out of this. I have no clue, Raj. It's a good question. I've never been able to find out an answer to this. Indian football, before it becomes viable, again, viability, we're quite far off from the point of viability. I think we need to accept that Indian football and viability are not two things which are, which works for us, right? So therefore, for me, yeah. So that's the reality. So don't you think those who are now crying for FSL by saying they spent 5,000 crore, they should be shown mirror that India is today not qualified for Asian Cup? Ambani has created this bubble. No, Bharat cricket, why? Again, the qualification of the Indian national team, and of course, FSL investment into the league. Yeah, you would think that should have improved things, right? The failure of the Indian team to qualify for the Asian Cup is a failure of the entire system, and it's not just FSL and Mrs. Ambani and the ISL. It's a failure of the whole system. Look at the quality of players that have been produced over the last 20 years, right? The standard of footballers coming through the system has gotten worse. And I feel that if you want to go to the ISL and say, guys, what are you kind of talent that you're producing? I think the ISL needs 20, 25 years to be in a position to say, listen, we are producing talent now. So, and Reliance with its Reliant foundation projects, programs in grassroots youth is trying to do its thing. So it's I don't know. I don't think that Nita Ambani's created any bubble of sort. I think the reality was there and everybody knew. Who understands football? Again, how many people understand football, right? That's another question to talk about. Though I don't know them personally, Kushal Das and Shonada, the domain expertise to run the system. Exactly. Kushal and Sunando, different mindsets, different understanding, but they knew their stuff. And this is the biggest difference of where we stand at this moment in time, because at the moment, we've got people running the AIFF who should not be anywhere near the National Federation. That's sadly the reality. How would you rate Professor Patel's tenure? Do you think there was malice at that time? These guys made him look like a huge culprit, but I'm so at least the basics were done right. The Vapes, you know what? Professor Patel allowed the two mentioned gentlemen in Shunando and when Kushal and other people, Abhishek Yadav, to add to the mix to do their job, right? And if it is for me, we need to be honest. And, that was it perfect before that? No, of course not. And those people will, in private would surely say, no, not everything was perfect, but we were trying to do things. Now the situation is, we're nowhere near that, no? So why Portfolio has been removed 2022? Because mindset mastery, because the Supreme Court got involved and they said, 2 terms maximum. Portfolio was already so-called in the 3rd term, term limits and other things. And it was these gentlemen mentioned before, it was the government, because Mr. Patel was not too friendly with the government at the time, and the courts have removed it, right? In your opinion, is Bengal the greatest German defender of all time? Yeah. If you want to talk about defender, yes, I would say he is. Overall, I would say Gerd Müller would have been my most favorite German footballer. Ryan Williams might be thinking, oh gosh, which was maybe not. He's taken that decision consciously, right? It is not something, okay, I will do. Yeah, this is where he's taken a decision, and I congratulate, I salute him for that. And yeah, let's wait and see, So let's wait and see where he takes it. Don't forget the same people 22 meters banned. Yeah. I mean, Raj, again, I'm the only one who can go around with my head held high and say, guys, I warned you all that FIFA would ban us. And but nobody was interested or wanted to listen to these things, and therefore we are where we are, right? So welcome to that mess. Is there any viewership of I-League? It's a joke now. Good question, Raj. I don't know. Good evening, Sinad. Welcome back. Sir, the real problem is other sports are comparing themselves to cricket today. Even every area has one cricket training institute. Can we say they're the same about football? Bharat cricket, you've got cricket in your name. I've always said to compare yourselves to cricket, no, but everywhere, no. Cricket training institute, that's also overestimating it. Cricket doesn't have the reach that people want to sell us. Cricket is very, very successful at the top level. It is commercially successful, but cricket doesn't have a full reach across India. There are states, there are regions, there are areas where, for example, a sport like football, maybe even in some places it might be hockey or kabaddi or wrestling or boxing, which potentially could be bigger in that region or in that even district. So therefore, yes, cricket is much, much bigger, but again, it's not everywhere. What an evening for Indian football, Messiah, says Sidaya. Hi, Rudra, welcome back. Latest score for women's national team. Surprised to say at least this will be testing the poll. I'm not familiar with many of the names. Ochut, it is, for me, I've said this, he needs to figure out what he can do. And at the moment, I find it difficult. Was FSTL really a success in your opinion? Yeah. If you want to talk about organization and structure, again, we can talk about the football part where you say, has it really improved Indian football? That's, an issue. But I would say, yes, overall, FSTL, what they've tried to build, better than nothing. Do you feel FSTL want to get out of this, or do you have any? I just hope they'll come back. The Vapes, they're out. At the moment, Reliance is out, period. Right? And if you ask me, there are two sides of the story. One is FSDL as a body. We want, the question with Reliance, does Reliance want to do this? And therefore, that's a big question. FSDL, at best, for my opinion, if a club's monopoly spread this plague. I don't know if it's club monopoly, or AIFF, of course, the clubs, but even FSDL could have most probably done certain things differently. But this situation that we are in is a fault of the AIFF, yes. Why does Indian football look so helpless at this moment? Isn't there any solution? And if there is a solution, why didn't Top Brass take a step to improve the current scenario? Ankush, I think one aspect is not knowing what is the value of your product, right? To me, the product value is 0, and they say my product is worth X. So therefore, that's where we are. So if you don't have a realistic, honest, so that's the point. We had already hit rock bottom, but now, that's where we are. Didn't people criticize ISL in 2019 when we knocked out of Asian Cup? Then also it was asked after so many years of ISL, due to Bruce players, it's still a question. Yeah, Raj, but producing players of the ISL, again, of the younger ones is the question, right? And that production line started before 2014, right? So, yeah. Casey is an interim president, what a joke. Yeah. With whom are women's team playing? That I don't know. Did they just mentioned the squad, right? One second, let me see. I thought they just mentioned the squad. What did AIFF mention? One second. Acha, okay. They will announce the friendlies later. Okay, so let's wait and see who India should be playing in the coming windows. In Goa, football is played more than cricket. West Bengal football, but also has good cricket following as well. Yeah, but take the Northeast where football is clearly the biggest sport. Please tell me there is any chance. Please, we need answer. These were the best 10 years of Indian football. Hannibal, I would like to tell you that, but I can't. Right? So, you know, I can't be honest enough to tell you, yeah, it's gonna happen, right? I can't give you an honest answer, as I say, but where I say, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen. No, I can't. Like in 2009, when we qualified for the Asian Cup, we didn't have a proper camp because FSA wasn't ready to postpone the league for the Asian Cup camps, and there was control over the league, I think. And that's why they included in the new term that the control and decision making done by AIFF. Let me know if this is accurate. No. That's nothing to do with that. The camp thing and all is, 2023. No, that has nothing. Why the length of the camp and this and everything? No, has nothing to do with that. 1996 to 2013, the way NFL and I-League was organized, ISL was way better quality of football that can be questioned, but infra-professionalism always an event, huge improvement. Not to forget broadcast, right? Broadcast has been taken to a new level. Do you know Bogdan Fikut? No, I don't. Hi, Arman. If I think it's collapsed, will have announced bankruptcy and get shut down. Arman, what's a good question? I would not think that they can, as a society, file for a bankruptcy. Good question. But I wouldn't know the answer to that, to be very honest. What could be the solution to that? If you say about popularity of football in Bengal, then guys, East Bengal more and more. Derby is not all to call people to stadiums. Look at Kalyan Stadium, it's partially filled. It's not even full. Raj, football's popularity doesn't depend on the numbers of people who are attending a match, right? I think that East Bengal, outside of the derby, the clubs normally cannot fill the Salt Lake Stadium. That says a lot. But that football is big in Bengal is a different topic, in my opinion, or different discussion. Because in my opinion, and therefore that's the thing. And again, I hear again and again, I myself, when I'm in Kolkata, I've been to Kolani or Noihati to watch matches, and people tell me, oh, it's too far away, I can't travel there and all. So if you want, you can find 50 reasons why you will not go somewhere and watch football. Ashish Negi of Kerala once said I-League should be made Indian footballers only. That will increase local fan base and emotional reach connect of fans towards this club. I disagree. Chetan, it doesn't make sense again, because what will happen? Every team will have, I don't know, 3 or 4 Mizos, 3 or 4 Manipuris, and then the rest from other parts. That's India for you, right? So this whole regionalism and thing, regional connect and all, there's regional connect is it works in other parts of the world. It doesn't work in a country like India. It has never worked in a country like India. Let's be honest about it. And I don't agree also with Indians only look at I-League 2, look at the drop in quality and tell me how many strikers has I-League 2 produced. The only one of note is Irfan Yadwad at Bangalore United, but the others were. Yeah. It's better to conduct a league in regions in India where football is popular. In that way, it will be popular. No. Aurito. We need a pan-Indian league. I think that is something which I always will say and fight for, because a local regional league is nice to have, but if you don't have a pan-Indian league, how's the sport supposed to go? The sports needs to grow, and that will not happen in a localized small area. It has to happen on a national scale. Hey Anurag, you've been around Indian football for a long time now. Have you seen anything worse than the current situation? Yeah, maybe you can say 2022 with the FIFA ban, but if I look at the FIFA ban and its problems at the time, um, the end result of the FIFA ban is this, right? That people who didn't know what to do, how to do, are in charge of the federation and have taken us to this level. No? Those who wanted a new AIFF, this is the end result. Thoughts on Mohammad Subhajan stopping training? Shasik, it makes sense. It makes sense. It made sense anyway for the clubs to, in November, shut their operations if nothing's going to happen before, let's say, Jan. Right now, with the failed um, tender, I think that even January um, looks tough in my opinion. To me now, I don't know if some sort of tender can be done and the process can be saved, and then you can turn things around. But at the moment, it looks, in my humble opinion, it looks very, very difficult and looks very tricky to try and figure out something that will work for Indian football and and get us something. Society can be dissolved as per Society's Registration Act of the Government of India. Thanks, Ochut. So it can be, but again, my question would be, if you dissolve a national sporting federation or association, what kind of implications does it then have onto the FIFA/AFC registrations? If AIFF organizes ISL equivalent, its broadcasting would be YouTube with shitty quality. Nixon, they can't do that. They will need a broadcaster to put money on the table, So from that perspective, it might sound nice, it might sound good, but the AIFF is not in a position to say, you know what, let's take whatever we can and just do it. I don't think that will work for them. It's a very, I understand where you're coming from, but I can't see that happening. God knows when this vicious cycle will end. Shastik, with Mohan Bagan stopping first two operations, it is a sign of Mr. Goenka leaving. Imam also follow up the same. Rajit, I've always said that is a danger which is there. The question is who's going to pull the trigger first, right? So far, nobody has pulled the trigger per se, but it can happen any day, right? Someone, okay, let's end this, and what happens then? What happens? Where do we go from here? And that is something which is very dangerous. Again, one entity saying, you know what, we're shut, we're closed. Sorry, and what happens to the rest? And that is, we're closing in on that phase where that danger is there, and the question is, how can we get out of it? As shadows of FIFA ban are not yet gone, I feel. Nixon, this is, as I say, this is the result. The FIFA ban brought these people into power, and the FIFA ban itself at the time was not needed. I think we could have worked around it, but we didn't, right? And therefore we are now stuck where we are, and let's wait and see where this carnival, so to say, takes us, right? That's the next step. But sir, Kolkata Cubs will play I-League, sir. However, I don't see even the I-League happening. The Kolkata Clubs will play CFL and IFA Shield, and maybe some, I don't know, Sikkim Governors Gold Cup and Bordoloi Trophy and all those things. Who knows, maybe AFF broadcast with mobile, says Raj. In practical scenario, you need to get new committees, governing bodies instead of dissolving association. Yeah, but the question is how you're going to do that, that's the point. Dissolving an association, restarting an association is not that easy a process. That needs to be kept in mind. Nice t-shirt, by the way. Thanks a lot. No problem if ISL exists or not. We have our national league CFA. Nice. Yeah. Mohan Bagan stopping first team operation. Many other clubs will follow this step, and some may even shut down permanently the management. For Subli Wood. Yeah. Next time, Blue. Yeah. So this is where we are, and the question is, how can we get out of this? That's the very big danger. Banned AIFF and ISL. Why? King X Camper. I mean, who will ban AIFF? And why ISL? Best Premier League jersey for this season. Oh, Raj. I've not put my mind to that. I've not really looked into all jerseys to be able to tell you which is the best looking one. May IFM bring all foreign born player make duels in. But King X Camper, I mean, I've spoken about this topic I don't know how many times over the last X number of years. And it's not so easy. Dual citizenship is not going to happen. And we also have to be honest to ourselves. The whole Ryan Williams story has happened. To me, it's that Ryan Williams was or is playing in India, and therefore it was relatively easy to get him an Indian passport. Again, the process was fast-tracked. That's very positive. But other things are not going to be that fast. So one has to be honest on that front and say, you know what, guys, if someone doesn't live in India, then the process will not be as smooth, as quick as it was for Ryan. Is Ryan Williams' inclusion good or not? Because I have only seen people glazing him. I think it's a very good, for Indian football, it's good. And because it look at it was talking points even on mainstream media. So that's a good thing for Indian football. But again, in parallel that we're talking about a whole mess in the AIFF, ISL tender fail, so that's then the other side of the story, and makes it very difficult for Indian football, right? So yeah, let's wait and see how this all panned out. People making fun of Ryan Williams for taking Indian passport. Listen, Raj, to me is very, very clear that I have huge respect for Ryan for taking the step that he's taken to become an Indian citizen, to play for the Indian national team, to relinquish his Australian passport. That's a big step. That's a big thing to do. And I have utmost respect, and let's wait and see what happens in the coming days and weeks. Someone told me a ridiculous suggestion: when signing 6 foreign players, 2 spots should be reserved for Indian origin players. If these origin players aren't interested or the deal fails through, they can sign other foreign players. However, they want clubs to first approach Indian origin players and give them priority, getting confirmation that they've made an approach before signing others. The remaining 2 spots cannot be filled with any foreign players. I haven't seen such a ridiculous suggestion anywhere else. Seems an average Indian football fan suggesting they can have better ideas. Coco makes no sense. I don't want players of origin to come to India and play here. I want players of origin to play in Europe, in North America, maybe in other parts of Asia, where the quality is higher. And we don't have a league. At the moment, we don't have a league. So what are we discussing? What are we discussing? It makes no sense at all, right? And we've had, I remember I was one person to push it in 2005-06. We had the discussion, and then the AIFF implemented the PIO slot, and we had some amateur players and this and that and everything suddenly turning up in the I-League. It makes no sense. There is no 2 possible future, for Indian football. Okay. AIFF makes I-League the top division. Okay, Zoravar, let me see what your second option is. AIFF begs FSL to come back. FSL agrees, but on their condition that will come a close league with I-League being the top league like before 2017. The second option, is not an option. I do believe that we need to think about a closed league for a certain period of time. I've said this multiple times here. I think that is most probably our best bet, our best option. And so therefore, again, an I League top league will not happen because the ISL was to top, if the ISL happens and if the ISL stays, then the ISL will remain the top league. This whole I League becoming top league again is not even a discussion. Yeah. So yeah. Indian football is a circus and will remain a circus, and yeah, we will qualify for the World Cup in 2099. So Shriyansh, he made a huge sacrifice for us. Exactly, Raj. The point here is that someone like him, with the pedigree, with the background, with whatever he's done, has taken a decision for which he should be complimented. And if I read what you're saying, Twitter said he will not be anything in Australia, so for better opportunity to no. Listen, for him to take up Indian citizenship, well, okay, he can play international football for India, yes, that's true, but in general, everything else makes life difficult with an Indian passport. Can we make a new league by comprising ISL and I League teams with a very small budget? What budget? Who's going to organize? Who's going to run? Where does the money come from? Dipanshu, the question is not about the clubs. The question is who's going to organize, who's going to run the league, and who's going to put in the money, and yeah. If this process was fast-tracked, then how far are we from OCI and PIOs? Very far, because this happened individually, and it is not for OCI PIOs. That process takes you 12 years to get an Indian passport at the moment. This is a process which takes you 5 years. So normally, Ryan Williams would have needed 5 years, but it was fast-tracked. But again, that's a different case. But that will never be accepted by the I-League clubs. And the fact is, I-League clubs are the ones that are producing footballers. Where are they producing footballers? I don't know where you're getting that from, Zaraba. Well, and it's not a question of why would the I-League clubs accept or not accept. Yeah, we've had. What did they do? What changed? Dempo and Protest said, "Oh, you know what? We won't play I-League." Okay, take it. What did they do? They tried to build an academy, right? They built an academy. Now you'll tell me, oh, they did so well and this and that and everything. Is there any Asian level or world level player that they've produced in the last 40, 50 years? Has Churchill Brothers produced any players? Right? Hey, Stephen, welcome back. My father's been following Indian football from 1980, almost 45 years, and every time we hear something about Indian football or we watch India matches, every time he feels disappointed, even me too. It's not every time, right? Again, every time is a little too harsh, I would say, if you ask me. Yeah, things aren't good in Indian football. I think we don't need to discuss. There are a lot of issues, a lot of problems. But to just generalize and say, oh, everything in Indian football is bad, I don't think is the case. So therefore, if we make a closed league, then why will I-League clubs put money for winning it if he's not getting a prize? Raz, the prize is the money that theoretically get. What is the prize of running a club? So if as an I-League club you win and you move to the ISL and you suddenly, from your 15, 20 crores, you suddenly have to spend 40, 45, maybe 50 to compete, right? Again, if I want to put in the criteria of the finance and look at it, then Mountain Sporting should have never been allowed to get into the ISL. And Churchill Brothers does not qualify on the financial front. Sorry. One has to be honest about that. And we have a league, which to me has been blown up. I think that is something that those who have authored, that the growth of the league has not kept up with the number of players that you have in your player pool. And that's, in my opinion, that's the biggest problem. Indian football fans are already low in numbers, and the things that are happening in football make many people just stop following. I give up too. I heard dry news and got happy for a second, but okay, I'll wait for your but. The sacrifice made by Ryan is something to be respected. His wife is Australian, probably still is, means have to stay away from his family. No, why does he have to stay away from his family? Because he becomes Indian citizen, he can't stay with his wife? Well, so what's the logic behind this? If you're married with this passport, that passport, not an issue. If Treasurer says, oh yeah, seems like ISL is going to happen. What will happen to the ISL clubs? Will they shut down Augusto? Yeah, it's a real risk. I think the next 6-7 weeks will decide where the road is heading. At the moment, it looks very, very tricky, and we'll have to wait and see. What about those under 16 players who are practicing in Germany Bundesliga or AIFF Bundesliga? It was organized by the Bundesliga Dreams, and they were there only for 3 days here in Germany. They came for an extended weekend, so came and went back. Name me one player in the current 17 who has come from an ISL club academy. So rather, doesn't matter. The quality is, again, under 17. There are at least 2 or 3 most probably who've come from an academy. Let me just check if we wanna talk about it. Right. We've got Reliance Foundation, we've got Northeast United, Classic Football Academy, Football for Change, AIFF FIFA, Sudeva, Buna FC, Chennai, Northeast, Minerva, Mohun Bagan, Mangalore, FC Goa, Real Kashmir, Bangalore FC. So, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids from the ISL. We just need a working FF like PP's time and ISL running at the top, then rest follows the moment FSL steps out of all the ecosystem, shaking them as much as possible. This is the way forward, says Renner. Why would ISL want ISL I-League clubs? What do they contribute? Again, that's the problem. Will they go to Supreme Court now? Surikiran, that's what the bid evaluation committee will have to figure out and do. I think that's one of the options that is left to them. Yes, and ask the Supreme Court, can we put out a second bid, maybe with a different set of criteria? I think suggesting this because, let's be real, our laws make it tough for players to play for India unless they're part of an Indian club. Maybe he's thinking, hey, if we can get them any other way, let's make them play for us. Either way, I'd love to hear more about his reasoning. Is that the gist of it? Goku, this theory, again, I never discourage people to have an idea and a thought. It's just that I don't live in this imaginary world. Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. I don't want, Ryan Williams getting his passport in a very short span of time is the job of certain people to do it. This will not happen for a player who's at XYZ club. So that's why the logic doesn't work. After watching this absolute disaster, forget about the issues on sporting surviving. Yeah. There is none without early clubs like Association in Indian football would have been dead a decade earlier. No. Where do you get that? Where do you think is let's say the best Mizo players we've had? Changte, product of Aizawl FC, is Apuya, product of Aizawl FC? Just asking, right? A lot of the players, even Aizawl FC depends on smaller clubs in the Mizoram Premier League, or forget the Mizoram Premier League, in Aizawl. Why are they delaying the next step of cremation also? I don't know. I don't know what the next steps are. Yeah, I've seen Indians criticizing everything associated with the football here in India, but not even one time seen a kid be accountable about their own talent, except the same of them. Yeah. That's the problem, Rendon, right? We glorify with this whole glorification of, we're this, we're that, and everything. We're none of that. Praful will laugh. Vignesh, no, he won't. See, then if someone like you says this, then you don't understand that for someone like him, who's run the federation and who's run Indian football, this will not be a happy day. He is the one who convinced Mukesh Ambani to come invest in India in football 15 years ago. A talented player, they're passionate, but not talented. We haven't seen Vijayan type talent for about 3 decades. Yeah, passion is not enough, right? Quality is the thing. Amar Anand is now here and then with some random content creators making reels. He was injured, right? I saw him the other day against Mumbai City in Kerala Blasters shirt. If we are the less fancy, like signing less number of foreigners, then the budget will get reduced. So can small teams get the chance to compete with the big clubs? Devanshu, the problem is not the foreigners. The problem is the salaries of the Indians. The salary of Indians in the ISL is too high. The salary of Indians in the I League is too high, and then go down the ladder, it's even too high. But again, it's where it's not enough. Then people are saying, "Oh, listen, I need to, do match fixing, this, that, and everything." It's a problem. At the moment, we can make combined. No, we can't. I mean, I don't know why you're coming back with that combined league idea. It will dilute the whole thing, and then it will destroy. Who's going to organize it? Do you think the AIFF is in a position to organize a league? Who's going to fund it? Right? Even if you reduce the cost of organizing, and so yeah. These I League clubs are created by shitty people who want a free pass to enter ISL for some buck. ISL clubs were literally betting money. Why would they want to pool in money where they will be playing with clubs who don't? I don't think that the I League clubs are in a position to compete with the ISL clubs in regard to finance. We've heard Aizawl FC, we've heard Shillong, Lajong, and all that stuff. Real Kashmir, good. They're needed in the pyramid of Indian football. And yeah. So makes no sense. Boris Kamal will go to 7. Yeah, branch. Where is Komal Thakur? I don't even know where he's playing. I played the Super Cup final now. Augusto, I think those who've reached the Super Cup semis will now play the final. I don't see that being a problem because they've committed to this tournament. And let's wait and see what happens. Yeah. So for me, I think that's not a problem, right? Right, more than 54 minutes. Quick reminder to all of you, if you're liking the conversation, to leave a like behind. We have 15 likes so far. Thanks. Had 54 yesterday, so I think we can do better. And also, if you share it with us, please. And yeah, if you are listening, you're liking the conversation, subscribe to the channel, ask your questions, and let's keep on growing the community. We're at 3,373 people subscribed and following Arunfoot. Right. Whatever people say, Ryan at 32 decided that I want to represent his country. He's done what other players don't even think about. So he deserves all respect and support in this whole world. Maybe he can save us striker problems for 6 years. Let's see. That's so Radho was interested in Zohava. No one. I heard no one was interested to inquiring the rights. Right? I can put out and say, oh, you know what? I'm an investor. I'm interested in acquiring rights. I can put that up, right? No one was, when they knew the numbers, when they did their number crunching, I already said, thank you very much, Tata bye-bye. Right? When everything feels like getting good, Bajaj Jumeirah pulled a move, it started to break, our ecosystem break by break. Wish we had continued, then would have been easy, been decent. Now continuing profitability. Yeah, it's too late. We're past that position. Will Supreme Court allow for a renegotiation with FSA? What do you think? I have no clue. So, Kiran, the Supreme Court actually should get out of that, right? So therefore, yeah, this the Supreme Court has brought us to this situation. I would request the Honorable Court to recuse itself of the matter, pull out of the matter, and let professionals try and build something. By the way, have you seen what Vadra's up to now? Some lofty claims. I would like to see a video with you debating about this. Robert, I don't follow him. For me, it's a waste of time. So it doesn't make sense. Sorry, Zirodha. Doesn't matter. Zuraba, no one was interested. Did you expect this to happen before? Goku, I said 2 years ago that this is a danger which could happen. Look at old videos. Look at videos from July 2023 post the um, SAF Championship. I said what could happen, and that has actually happened. I'm the only one. I can proudly say that I have warned, and therefore I go back to something which I saw yesterday from someone. Shaggy put out a tweet yesterday, which I liked. And again, hopefully people now realize how difficult it is to sell Indian football or on foot. Called this out way too early. All his calls have been positive. This he predicted in 2023. Yeah. So there are people who've been following me, and thanks, Shaggy. Might listen to it later on that you've been following me since then. The situation that we are in is, in my opinion, not a surprise. It is the outcome of the policies, the decisions that were taken, and we are here because we somewhat deserve this. No? Nothing more, nothing less. Right? That's the reality. So this is something which is which is the reality of things, and therefore it's shocking for some, but this was bound to happen if things weren't run in a proper way, and if things have not been run in a proper way. These people have literally dismantled Indian football structures. They don't understand the value of Indian football. They want to sell Indian football, and we did this, we did that, we did great, and again, AIFF is claiming even that Ryan Williams is their work, where it was not their work to get him the passport, right? So, hey, great, brilliant, So, we are where we are, and that's a very tricky, very dangerous situation we find ourselves in. So let's wait and see where and how it goes. Those sitting in the AIFF have no football knowledge, says Vigesh. Do we? Devanshu is. There are other sports which India is okay, but India is not that good as a sporting country. I think if the league doesn't happen, we'll get banned. AFC Sport Tata. Goku, the AFC will not ban us for these kind of things. There's no need, but they can ask questions. One thing about Indians is that they hear to no one, even BJP. Okay. By the way, Monos we spoke about it earlier. It was expected, right? I generally said that even if it was a January start to the ISL, a team like Mohun Bagan most probably in November would have said, you know what, we shut operations for now, and then we regroup in December and start training for the ISL. Would have been my thought, but let's wait and see what happens. It's not always necessary that sports persons only to be in federation. Look at Pune City, isn't good. Raj, to me, sports persons, if they have the knowledge, understanding to do things, we can talk about it, right? But if you don't have it, if you don't have the necessary skill set to run a federation, then you are, Off-topic question: to see in upcoming decade will get any Messi, Ronaldo, and what football? So theoretically we can, but football is moving on to being a more tactical, organized team game, and therefore, in my opinion, maybe the Messi, Ronaldo era is maybe over. Do you think more ISL clubs will shut down the operations of any clarity on the league? There are, for example, Odisha FC is not operating at the moment, and I don't know if Chennai is still, So yeah. Wide argument was circling around now combine both ISL I-League, which is almost more than 25 clubs. Most advanced football countries struggling to make a profit out of 18 to 20 club league. To me, I've said this. It is not a question of the size of the top league, because let's say we combine ISL and I-League and make one league out of that, right? You know how bad the quality of that league would be? So therefore, it makes no sense. And it shows me I'll be brutal. It shows me the lack of basic understanding of how things need to be done. My biggest problem is when I see all of these people, so this is, yeah, it is lack of knowledge and understanding to a height, to a level which is, it's ignorance also, in my opinion, right? Ignorance of realities, and therefore we are where we are. Ryan Williams wasn't first player to renounce his nationality to represent India out there. Izumi did it before him. Credit is entitled to the players to give nationality. Shameful. AIFF taking credit. Yeah, Stephen. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better. But there are other people who've helped the process, both for Arata and both for Ryan as well. What about Lamine Yamal? Do you see him as the next Messi? Well, no. At the moment, not. You know, we could talk about Messi. We could talk about, I don't know, you know, who's it? Lamine Yamal was probably, would it be maybe, I don't know, German context, John Musiala? Would it be, I don't know, Bellingham? But again, it's a team game, and at the moment, the mentality, the game has changed, right? I mean, even Kylian Mbappe, with all that he's achieved already, is not the same level. If Kalyan Chaudhuri knows the deal is going to end December this year, then why did not think to make a new deal 1 or 2 years earlier? He did 1 year ago, right? Let's put it this way. Last November, I think the first conversations happened. I said in July 2023, I go back. Again, I'll be very, very arrogant on that, on what I tried and raised with the AIFF. Guys, go, speak, try to work out something. You know, so therefore, yeah. You were on a high after winning the SAF. It won 3 tournaments, this and a lot of talk was there. But what happened? Nothing, right? SLK is happening, so you think they make the same mistake like what's going on right now in ISL? Goku, Super League Kerala has its own set of problems, you know, so therefore to just, I know that a lot of people are glorifying it, but if you look at the financial situation of the league, if you look at the financial situation of the clubs, they will not survive for 10 years. That again, and that's, you know, Bengal Super League is going to have the same problems. Don't we have Super Cup? Isn't it? This is just that. Yeah, Nixon at the moment at national level, Super Cup was our only tournament. With Ryan Williams, India got player who played in Premier League in past. So now he's not played Premier League. I mean, just let me just check one thing. Let me see some live stats for Ryan Williams. I don't think Ryan Williams has played Premier League. He's been in Premier League squads at Fulham, right? But Ryan Williams, to me, has never played in the Premier League. I was surprised. I thought it was a 5-year process of getting your passport. There's a way to get it early if you have connections, I guess. Yes, Stephen, people at JSW made it possible. So yes, it is in theory possible to get it quicker and faster. Dada, what's your solution to solve this mess? Goku, very simple. Resignations. Again, I know it's not going to happen, but my solution is very simple. The AIFF top brass, you know, needs to resign. I think that's something which we need to look at, and the Supreme Court needs to recuse itself of looking in the matters of the AIFF, and yeah, and that's where we need to head to, right? So, but again, the Kalyan job is not resigning, the Exco is not resigning, you know, and the Supreme Court is also not going to recuse itself, and then also actually saying, you know what, we need to restart the process of creating a constitution, and that constitution to me is yeah, it's not going to happen, right? So I don't know, it's very, very difficult. 1 second, let me see, where is the history of the player, all seasons stats. By the way, Avika Singh got national call. Yeah, so very good. Let Crispin check her out. If she's good enough, she stays. If it's not good enough, she goes back to Denmark, plays, and then maybe becomes a better player. According to you, who's the most compatible person to become the AIFF president? Devanshu, if I look at this situation, if I look at the rumors that have happened over the last 2-3 months, maybe we go back to Praful Patel for a certain period of time before finding a new suitable president. Yeah, I'm that far that we are in this situation. Are there events in football history where national football governing bodies bypass the league like ISL? Yeah, Indonesia's had it, Rebel League and all that kind of stuff. So yes, those things have happened. So let me just check if he's played Premier League. Under 21 Premier League, under 21 Premier League, League Cup, Championship. No. So at Fulham, he was a Premier League player, but if I get it right, then Ryan Williams has never played in his career 387 matches. So, but he's never played in the Premier League. Okay. Kalyan Chawla usually comes to attend podcasts in Check Their Football YouTube channel. You should invite him to a podcast. However, he's not going to come. And when was the last time we went to Check Their Football? Passport is not a realistic solution. Changes to OCI from the lawmakers will be the other solution, but I don't have any hopes on the AIFF for lawmakers. Even it's not on the AIFF, it's on the lawmakers, as you mentioned. The lawmakers have not made any of the necessary changes to the system. Maybe a private one. Yeah, you've had private leagues, right? Even in Europe, the European Super League, a private entity tried to build it. Is there any football league going on in Turkmenistan? Aman, as far as I know, yes. Do you think in the first place where AIFF still came up with new contract, AIFF should negotiate a promotion relegation thing? AIFF still wants closed door, but promotion should happen, but relegation. Gugu, as I told you, I've told again and again, I think we need to look at where the league and the structure is. And at the moment, we need a consolidation phase over the next 3 to 5 years. And from that, also financially, also from a football players, we've grown our league. Look at Sporting Club Delhi. Sporting Club Delhi, or Hyderabad FC, even over the last 2 years, has not been an ISL level team. Mohammedan Sporting is not an ISL level team. They might have gotten results in here. Again, don't get distracted by the Super Cup. And this is cup football, always, right? Grimsby Town beat Manchester United. Should happen after 26 runs kind of thing, but the promotion thing destroyed in football. But for a football league, promotion relegation as a top 20. No, you don't need it. Where is promotion relegation in MLS? Where is promotion relegation in the Canadian Premier League? Where is promotion relegation in the A-League in Australia? Mexico has stopped promotion relegation for the moment. Japan didn't have promotion relegation when they started off. Yeah. BJP won't make someone from Congress AIFF president. Zorawar, Prabhu Patel is no longer with the Congress, right? He's with the NCP, and that is partner of the BJP and the Maharashtra government. I know the money part, AIFF eyes on that. Yeah. Some Indian football fans are proposing we should take over AIFF. There's a few rules are different. Yeah. What were the outcome of that endeavor, profitability-wise, etc.? There is no profitability. There was no profitability in Nixon, and then at some stage it merged with the Indonesian system because otherwise Indonesia got even banned by FIFA for that. Right, 1 hour, 9 minutes. I slowly need to end this live, guys. Quick reminder, like, share, and subscribe. Arunfoot here on YouTube. And as always, yeah, if you haven't, do subscribe to the channel. Let's keep on growing the community. Again, we need to push for things. I need your support to be able to push for things also. The bigger my voice, I think it is good not only for you, for me, for all of us. And as always, thank you for that. And therefore, RRC, I'll take this as a final question. If I suddenly woke up and decided to call up Indian players who are playing outside India and saying 4-5 might get called up in future, I think it's AIFF against director about current issues. RRC, there are two things, it is, again, I'm interested to see how Abneet is now. What's the standard? I have no clue how good or bad he is at the moment. I know him when he was at Geylang, I think 13 or 14. Ryan Williams is a different thing. That's not on the AIFF, that's done. And therefore, if it works, it's great, and not otherwise not. And what do you see future of Indian football is rather, it is at the moment very, very bleak. It is in a very dangerous spot. So let's wait and see. Yeah. And with that, I end. See you soon, guys.